Hey, so I know it's been a few months since I posted something. We are in the last few weeks of February. The last post I did, I think it was October. I'm not sure. But normally I like to take, winter and be in the house, enjoy myself, read garden books, go through my seed catalogs, think about what I want to do when once it warms up in the garden. This year has been really different in terms of being able to do that. Because as I'm going through seed catalogs and I'm thinking about placing orders, I realized really quickly that a lot of those seeds were on back order. Some were sold out. Some of the sites that I went to have special regulations now as to how you can order, who can order, blah, blah, blah. Thankfully, that didn't affect me. I was able to get everything that I wanted without any problems. But it was a little strange for me to experience that kind of anxiety to get seats, because normally, like I said, January and February, I'm not in a rush. I'm home, I'm cozy, I'm relaxed, I'm easing through catalogs, and then I'm figuring out what it is that I want, and when I'm ready I place my orders. But this time I felt like a real hard push to be able to get things ordered and placed, which I don't like shopping like that, but I'm happy with what I got. So we'll see what um what arrives. Some stuff has arrived, some stuff is still on its way. And thankfully I still have seeds from previous years that are still good. I'm gonna show you a little layout of little plan, little sketch that I made of what it is that I have in mind for the garden. So I'm designing right now the area by the pool and behind the pool. That was the area that we cleared out the most. It had really big damaged trees and a lot of poison ivy. We were able to clear that area out, take care of the pool, add in a patio back there. And right before winter came, or last year, right? I think it was maybe November, we were able to edge out the four beds, which I'll show you. And we got some arborvitaes, and we were able to plant them and put them in the ground. But they were a little affected by the wind and winter. So as soon as spring comes, I'll be out there securing those, because they're kind of leaning. I'll give a quick tour of the garden. I was doing that, but it got really cold, so I figured I'll just shoot the rest of the video in the house because I don't want to have cold hands. So I made a nice cup of coffee, French press, plug. That's my husband's cafe. Um, so speaking of, so we have been in Massachusetts for 16 years. Um, my partner's job at the time asked if he would move to Boston, um, and that was 16 years ago. And so we did that, and we have been in this house, in this particular house, for 5 years. And we spent those first 5 years remodeling this house. And I did start a little garden off the side of the house, but it was just to keep the plants that I brought from my previous home safe and secure, because I didn't want to leave those plants over there. I had so many of them. And I knew I was going to start a garden here. So I was like, why would I start from scratch if I have these plants? So I brought them with me, a lot of them. So I created a little garden, little circle garden off the side of the house just for those plants. But I didn't tend to it. I mean, I tended, can't say the word. I took care of them, but I didn't focus any like specific design, because I knew that eventually I would be doing this right now, which is making this garden, making the property my garden, because I'm literally gonna make the whole property a garden. I mean, it's gonna be lawn space, but watch, I'm not playing. So, so the fence. I needed a fence because I just can't take people walking through my property like that. Like, I'm from New York. I like having my personal space, you know? I don't like this whole open concept of house, 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 and everybody's property is open to each other. Like, that's cute for you, but that's not gonna work for me. I have and I have big dogs. It's difficult for me to just pay property taxes, buy a house, pay a mortgage, and share my property with somebody else. Like, now I'm not antisocial, but like, I don't want to clean up your dog poop. If my dogs aren't running in your yard, why should your dogs be in mine? So, anyway, we put up a fence, and I'm very happy about it. One of the good things that the fence does, aside from keeping people out of of the area, is it keeps the deer out. It hasn't kept the rabbits out because rabbits are able to go underneath. Um, that was my little rant. So, and I will do that a lot. Um, so, idea for the property now is for me to just be able to have as much garden as possible and know that it's, in my own contained space. And that's gonna make me really happy. Like I said, I'm not antisocial. I just like being able to just be in my own space and be happy about it. And I'm sure a lot of people are like that. And thankfully, we were able to do that, which was something that I wanted from the minute we moved in, but we just couldn't do it when we were focusing on taking care of the house for those first couple of years. The idea for me is to focus on making a vegetable garden that I can maintain. I've never had a real official vegetable garden. I had like a little bed or two at my previous house. Um, this one, I want a real big vegetable garden. I want to be able to grow my own food, and I think it'll motivate me to cook more. I like cooking. I don't love cooking. That I leave that to Jay. He's the restaurant owner, the chef. Um, but I want to be able to grow some vegetables and cook more. Not that that's something that I'm looking forward to doing in the summer, but more in the fall and the winter. Like I can see just making like a nice soup or stew, put in the oven on, putting some vegetables to roast in the oven like that. That sounds good. And I actually do that, but unfortunately, I'm doing that with stuff that I'm buying at the grocery store. It'd be great to be able to do that with stuff that I'm growing from my garden. And I also want to be able to have some cut flowers, some flowers to bring in the house. But I don't want to have like a cut flower garden. I don't like that idea. I want to be able to incorporate the flowers that I cut to bring in the house in my perennial garden. So in my herbaceous borders, which I plan on making, I plan to incorporate some flowers there to cut and bring in the house. That's the idea for the garden here because I'm growing so many things from seed because I won't be able to go out there and buy all the stuff that I want. So the idea is for me to be able to have, ample plants out there, ample, cut flowers out there that if I cut something from the garden, from the borders and bring them in the house, you won't be able to tell, or I won't be able to tell that I did that because there's so much there. So hopefully that that thought that I have in my head actually works out. I have a different concept now as to what it is that I want. I don't know. I guess when you get older, you just have different, you view things differently. Before, I didn't want to bother myself with having certain things, and I didn't mind going out there and buying them. This year or now, you know, why would I spend money on something that I can have grown in my own garden? It just makes more sense to me that way. So hopefully that works out. Um, so from here on out, I plan on posting more on the diaries. What I don't like is having to set everything up, but if I don't do it, then how am I going to be able to track progress? So I have to. I'm going to make the commitment to just take all the equipment out there with me and set it up and record. So we'll see how that works out. So I'm going to show you a quick walk around the garden, and I'm going to show you the sketch that I came up with. So this is the area behind the house. This is the full backyard-ish area this whole area was all trees and a ton of poison ivy. So now, as you can see, it's the fence and the trees that we were able to keep. The rest of the trees obviously were removed. Fence goes the full length of the back of the property. That's a gorgeous pine tree that was planted, I believe, when the house was put in, or maybe it was here before the house. I'm not sure, but I absolutely love it. Love the way it frames the backyard. That's my little compost bin over there. So the trees that we were able to save are all maples. Those are the evergreens that we were able to keep, and I want to expand on those and keep going down the length of the fence. So like I said, the fence it borders the full length of the back of the property. That's the pool. That's the hemlock. We had an arborist come and he said that hemlock is pretty old. I think he said it was around 60 or 70 years old. It's older than the house. But I love it. I love the way that it looks. I love the way it looks next to the pool. It casts this really gorgeous shadow, and the reflection of the tree in the water is really beautiful. I love having those kind of statement trees on the property. It reminds me of like those beautiful British properties. You see these gorgeous big pine trees like in Downton Abbey. It's really nice to have those. You know, some people don't like trees like this, but I love it. I love having that. It makes the property look more mature. This yew here, I don't think is gonna stay. I don't like the way it looks, but it might recover because I know you can cut yew back and it'll grow back. But there's a ton of yew here, and the yew borders the pool area. I'll take you to the pool. I just gotta make sure I know where I'm going. The snow is pretty deep. So this is the pool area here. And this area here is the area that I'm making the grass border, and I put some grasses in here and we put some birch trees, some white birch trees in here. I was able to put in some things from the other garden over here. So this area here is where I want to put my herbaceous border and make that go around. I'll show you in the design, but what I would like to do is just put more evergreens to kind of hide the neighbor's house. I want more privacy, even though the fence does a pretty good job so far. And thankfully we don't have any more deer running through here, so that's great. So go around. Those are the yews. Love how mature they are, and they kind of create more of a privacy area for the pool. Which is great. That's that gorgeous hemlock again. So you can kind of see during the summer the reflection of that pine tree on the pool is really beautiful. And that's all the debris and the mess from the construction last year, which I'll have to clean up because I want to make a garden underneath that hemlock, or try to. So there it is. That's a tour of the back of the property. All right, so this is the design or the layout that I came up with for the area in the back. It's not the full length of the property, but it's the area that we are working on right now. Everything from the pool back here is new. We added the patio, we redid the pool, we redid the coping around the pool, and we added a lawn around here. There used to be a shed here. We tore that down and we added in this grass border, and we put in 5 birch trees and some grasses, and we put in these 4 beds and arborvitaes on the corners there. So my plan is to have this area be the vegetable garden. Hopefully that works out. Um, and then make a nice big herbaceous border, which I broke up into three beds or three areas. This one being the largest, which kind of buffers or divides the space from when you walk in through this area here. Um, to me, it makes more sense instead of just having one long border there. It just makes it more manageable for me. Um, Along here, I'm calling the winter border, and there's some huge, really old pine trees and evergreens, and I plan on adding more to that area there. This is the fence line here, and I still see the neighbor, and I kind of want complete privacy, so I might expand on that over there. And then this is a shade garden area, which is actually longer than that. It goes further down, but I'm just focusing on this area right now. So maybe just have a nice curve area around, lawn going down in around here up to where the pool is. Actually, the pool sits higher. There's a grade change here, so the pool sits higher than this area, but the whole area is bathed in sun. We get a lot of sun here. So when we cleared this whole area out, this whole area was filled with trees and poison ivy, which I'm hoping that won't come back, but I'm prepared to take care of it if it does. But we had a whole bunch of soil, loam and compost brought in, and we had these 4 beds made before winter came and hit us last year, and that was as far as we were able to get. And actually, we kind of rushed it to plant the arborvitaes on the corners. And I when I went out there for a walk, I saw that some of them were leaning. So hopefully this spring they'll survive, and hopefully the spring will adjust it, and this area, like I said, will work out as the vegetable garden, and this area will work out as the herbaceous perennial border that I want, to be able to incorporate some nice cutting flowers to bring into the house, and also have a nice garden to look at. I want to kind of merge those two things together. I don't want just a specific area for cutting and have an area with just my perennial border. I just want to be able to mix that all in there together. But we'll see how that works out. Hopefully, like I said, I don't have to deviate from this design, because I like the way that it flows. I like the fact that it's equal amount of lawn, open lawn space, and garden. I mean, I'll probably prefer more garden, but I don't want to kill myself with too much work. So it allows enough space for the dogs to be able to run around and play, for me to be able to do some gardening and take a breath, and then get back into the garden. And like I said, the pool is there. Hopefully somewhere in here I can put in a greenhouse. I do want to put in a shed, maybe tuck it in like right along here. But we'll see if we're able to do that.